Good morning, good afternoon, depending on when you're watching this. My name is Lauren Wagner, and I'm going to be talking to you all a little bit about qualified charitable distributions from your IRA accounts. So again, this is just a high-level brief overview, lots of other details, but going to try to give you the basics on how you might make one of these qualified charitable distributions, or QCDs, as I'll be referring to them in the rest of this video. So some basic rules about who and when and why you might make a QCD. So in order to make a QCD, there are age limitations. These are available to individuals over the age of 70 and a half. Traditionally, this would have been made by somebody at the age they reached their required minimum distributions, which under the Secure Act passed at the end of 2019, changed from 70 and a half to 72. However, the ability to make a QCD is still 70 and a half. These distributions can only be made from certain kinds of retirement accounts, including your traditional IRAs, a rollover IRA, an inherited IRA, and inactive SEP and simple plans. You may not make a QCD from a 401k or a 403b plan. In a given year, an individual may make a distribution up to $100,000. For a married couple, each individual can make their $100,000 contribution, and it is not $100,000 total. So each spouse is eligible to make that $100,000 contribution to a qualified charity. Not all charities are going to be able to receive or be a qualified charity for the purposes of the QCD. Specifically, you may not make a QCD to a private foundation, to a donor advised fund, or to a supporting organization. The charity really must be a 501c3 and must be made directly from the IRA custodian to the charity, meaning the check should not come to the IRA owner and then a charitable contribution be made by that individual to the charity. Instead, the check should be written directly to the charity, and ideally that custodian would send that check directly to the charity and not to the individual. However, if they sent it to the individual, they may forward it on to the charity. So these QCDs should be made in the case of an individual who is 72 or older by the RMD date, and or if they are younger by 12/31 of the given year in which they are intending to make the QCD. Why do this? Well, there is an inherent income tax benefit to making a QCD rather than taking a taxable distribution from your IRA and then making a distribution and or a contribution to charity, in that rather than be subject to AGI limitations or carryover charitable contributions, etc., when you have a QCD made directly to the charity, that income, which would otherwise be taxable to an individual, will not hit that individual's income tax return, meaning there would be no corresponding deduction. It simply is a non-event from an income tax perspective. Be careful to point out when I say non-event, I do really mean that it's just non-taxable. There would be a filing of a 1099-R. You would receive that from the custodian of the IRA and would want to make sure that you let your tax preparer know so that they can properly account for that on your individual income tax return. So with all that said, again, many more details. If you're interested in making a qualified charitable distribution, I encourage you to reach out to your tax preparers. And again, of course, if you are charitably inclined and would like to make charitable contributions, that you consider doing so from your traditional IRA. Thanks so much.